Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are taking a deep dive into one of the most powerful and complex topic in Java, multi-threaded programming. Mastering this is essential for high performance in job interviews. We are going to break down concurrency into simple, manageable piece, focusing on clarity and execution flow. Let's start with a fundamental definition. We often use the term process and thread interchangeably, but in Java, they are very different. A process is a heavyweight application, like a full web browser instance. Crucially, every process has its own separate memory space, giving it isolation but high overhead. A thread, on the other hand, is the smallest unit of execution within the process. Threads are lightweighted because they share memory and resources with other threads in the same process. This sharing is the key for fast communication, but as we will see, it's also the source of many concurrency problems. Think of it in this way. A process is entire web browser application. A thread is one tab you have opened within the browser. All tabs share the same browser memory and connection pool, making them quick to switch between. To manage these threads, the JVM follows a strict life cycle, moving threads between defined states. This diagram is very crucial for understanding. Firstly, we have the new state. The thread is born, you create the thread object, but start method hasn't been called yet. Runnable. You call start method and the thread is now ready to run. It's waiting in the queue for the OS scheduler to give its CPU time. Running. The scheduler has picked the thread and the CPU is actively executing the run method. Blocked waiting. The thread is temporarily paused. This happens if it calls sleep, waits for input output like reading a file, or waits for a lock on the synchronized block. It's paused but still alive. Terminated dead. The run method has finished and the thread can never be restarted. Remember, the transition between the runnable and running is decided entirely by the operating system scheduler. This is why the output of multi threaded programming is often unpredictable. Every single Java application, from the simplest hello world to the most complex enterprises system, begins its life in a thread called the main thread. It is created automatically by the JVM to execute the public static void main string array args method. The main method has several roles. It starts the execution of the program, it performs initial setup, and may create child threads. The JVM waits for the main thread to finish before the entire application shuts down. Take a look at the code snippet. When you call thread.currentThread, you get a reference to the thread currently being executed. T.getName prints main confirming its identity. T.getPriority prints 5 because the default priority of the main thread is 5 and most threads that you create is non-priority. There are two ways to create a custom thread in Java. Both require you to define the job the thread will do in the run method. The first approach, implementing runnable. Here your class implements runnable interface, forcing you to define the run method. You then pass an instance of your class to the constructor of the standard thread class. This is the best practice. The second approach, extending thread. Simple and straightforward. Your class inherits from the thread class. You override run and create an instance. Done. Over approach 2, implementing runnable method is preferred. Why is that so? Java supports only single class inheritance. If your class already extends another class, say a component class in a GUI application, you cannot also extend thread. Implementing runnable solves this, allowing you to separate your execution logic from your class hierarchy. Now we introduce concurrency. When you call start method on multiple threads, they all enter the runnable queue simultaneously. The OS scheduler picks them up in an arbitrary order, slices up the CPU time, and swaps them out. Look at the output. Worker 2 prints first, then worker 1, and then worker 2 again. If you run this program 10 times, you might get 10 different output patterns. This is the definition of non deterministic execution. In complex application, those generic names like thread 0, thread 1 are useless for debugging. Always use set name or the constructor to give your thread meaningful names like database coworkers or file compressor. It is the key best practice. This slide introduces the reason why multithreading is complex shared resources. We use synchronization whenever multi threads are reading or writing into the same variable or same object. The problem is race condition. Imagine two threads are withdrawing money from a shared bank account that has $100. Thread A reads $100, thread B reads $100. A subtracts $50 and writes $50. B subtracts $50 and writes $50. The final balance is $50, but the correct balance should be zero. They raced to update the shared balance. The intermediate step was lost. The solution is mutual exclusion or locking. We use the synchronized keyword to ensure that the only one thread can access the crucial code section, the part that modifies the shared resources at any given time. This guarantees the data integrity. Concurrency is chaotic by default. We use coordination methods to introduce order. Is alive. Simple check it returns true if the thread is in the runnable or running state. It's used for monitoring. Join method. This is the heavyweight coordinator. When the main thread calls t1.join, the main thread pauses and enters the blocked state. It waits patiently until T1 completes its run method and becomes dead. This code snippet, we start T1, then we call T1.join. The first is alive prints true. Then when we call join method, the main thread is now blocked. The second println statement prints T1 is dead. Only after T1 finishes its entire job. This ensures sequential execution when necessary, often used for aggregating results. Every thread has a priority value, integer from 1 minimum to 10 maximum. The default is 5. You can use set priority method to assign the value. The OS scheduler uses this as a hint to decide which thread to pick from the runnable queue when the CPU is free. Important warning, priorities are not guaranteed. If a high priority thread enters a blocked state, a lower priority thread will run. Furthermore, different operating systems like Linux versus Windows handle these hints differently. Do not rely on priority for correctness, rely on synchronization. Let's quickly review the other essential methods you must know. Start method registers thread, calls run on the new thread. Run method contains the execution logic of the thread. Sleep pauses current thread for a specific time. Join forces waiting, makes the calling thread wait for this thread to finish. Get name, set name, retrieves or assigns the thread's name. Get priority, set priority, retrieves or assigns a thread's priority between 1 to 10. Here are the common mistakes you must avoid. The start method versus run method error. This is the number one beginner mistake. If you call my method dot run directly, you are just invoking a normal method call within the main thread. You get zero concurrency, zero performance benefits, and all the confusion. You must call start. Ignoring synchronization. If your program sometimes works and sometimes fails, you likely have a race condition. This shows your ignored synchronization. Never assume the unpredictable OS scheduler will favor you. Assuming priority guarantees. Never write logic that relies on a maximum priority. Thread running first. Always code for non deterministic execution. Let's recap the core architecture we just covered. The thread is a lightweight execution unit. We preferred runnable for the creation to respect Java's single inheritance. Synchronization is mandatory for shared resources. Coordination using join method introduces order into the chaos. The lifecycle defines the precise state of the thread at any given time. That's it for today's session. Thank you for being till here. Happy coding.